Now, the last thing in this section is dumping syndrome. Now, dumping syndrome is almost an archaeologic disease. And that is because this is the leftover of people who used to have surgery for their ulcer disease. Before we had proton pump inhibitors, we had H2 blockers and bismuth subsalicylate. And we used to use, before that, surgical methods of cutting the vagus nerve. Well, if you cut the vagus nerve and remove the gastric antrum to stop the acid production, that's good because it stops the ulcer. Because, it's very hard to have a stomach ulcer when you don't have most of your stomach. It's very hard to have acid overproduction when you cut out the half of the stomach that makes acid. The problem is dumping syndrome is a term for the rapid release of the gastric contents into the duodenum. And the problem with the rapid release of the gastric contents into the duodenum is that that can cause you to have, 1, a reactive hypoglycemia. That's because all of the sugar gets released into the duodenum. The increased sugar relieves to a big increase in insulin secretion, leading to hypoglycemia. You get shaky, you get sweaty, you feel like you're going to pass out. Dumping syndrome. Also, the hypertonicity of the gastric contents that get dumped into the duodenum, the hypertonicity of these gastric contents sucks volume and fluids into the intestine and cause you to have a large osmotic shift out of the vasculature into the duodenum, out of the vasculature, into the duodenum, and consequently you get intravascular volume depletion. And this intravascular volume depletion causes you also, I get shaky, I get sweaty, I get lightheaded. 1, dumping syndrome is an archaeologic remnant of surgery for ulcers. From losing your vagus nerve and having your gastric antrum resected, you have a small stomach that causes the overly rapid release of gastric contents into the duodenum. The big dump of glucose causes an elevated level of insulin, which results in a hypoglycemia. And the hypertonicity causes intravascular volume depletion. That's why the treatment of dumping syndrome is just eat small. Eat small. When you have a big dump of a lot of food into your duodenum, eat small. Eat small. You can't take a dump very much if you don't eat very much at a time.